Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com. The past two videos, which you will see, one day after the next. So this was my third video that I'll be doing in the same day, but you'll see them at different times, is the Surrealist Tarot. And I unboxed it and just did a spontaneous review. I was seeing it for the first time with you. When I did that, I think I released that on Sunday. And then Monday, yesterday, I did a signature spread using the cards without the benefit of looking up any of the artwork and not really like meditating or looking at the cards. I just jumped into it and I just did a reading. And I did it for the video. And it was pretty interesting, I thought. And I'm not quite done with this. I've had this in a box for a number of years. I never even opened the stupid, well, not that it's stupid. I don't mean it to say that it's a stupid deck, but I never even bothered to open it. And there's a couple other decks that I have just like that, where I bought them and they're just there. But I thought I would do a few more reads with this today, and then I'll move on. But this is, when you think of what is surrealism, it's when things are so, I don't even know if I can give a good definition of it, but you know it when you see it, and you know it when you experience it. And right now seems like a surreal nightmare. And that was the reading what we did yesterday to see if I could get any insights. But today, it's funny, my husband and I attended something yesterday. There was a function that was important to my husband, and I didn't know I was going, which is why I didn't have a video prepared. But it meant something to him for me to be present with him, so I went and I participated. And while we were traveling, because it was a little bit of a trip, when we were passing through a town, it made me think of a college friend. And she either lived there or her in-laws lived there. Somebody lived there that was associated with her. And I said, I started talking about her. And I said, whenever I think about her, or whenever she comes up in conversation, which is once every year and a half, I always hear from her. Always, always, always. So I said to my husband, I said, I'm going to hear from her soonish, within the month, I'll hear from her sooner than that, but I'll hear from her. And so then, of course, last night, because it was in my subconscious, I dreamed that she shows up someplace, and I say to my husband, see, I told you I was going to hear from her. But I haven't heard from her in real life yet. So I thought this would be a fun deck, since it's about dreams and it's being, an aspect of the deck of surrealist art is, dreamlike, how your brain puts stuff together. I thought I'd put it to the cards. What will be the nature of when I hear from her? I know I'm going to hear from her, so that's a given. But what will be the nature? What will be the cause for her to contact me? And I'll be using the Surrealistic Tarot deck by Luigi Di Giammarino. And I must admit, it's a real nice shuffle too. Very nice shuffle. Okay, so I put it to the universe. What will be the nature of the conversation when I hear from her, which I know I will. We'll just do some 3 cards and a quint if necessary. 5 of Cups, so an emotional disruption, something that maybe something that's come into her world and she wants to talk to somebody, bounce off her ideas. 2 individuals are consciously drinking. The others are passed out. So maybe she wants, to talk to somebody or to touch base with somebody regarding something that other people are tone deaf to. I don't know. Let's see what some of the other cards are. 9 of Swords. Well, this is a Rider-Waite-Smith kind of deck. So we have a woman's face, or a young person's face, whether it's a man or a woman, I can't tell. In stone, there's an apple with a rose, and the clouds appear to be like solid rock, like mountains, solid rock, mountain clouds. heavy yet ethereal, and then the frame is in a stone frame. So the only thing that is organic is the water and the fruit and the rose. So is she in a mind trap? You know, is there something that's really heavy on her brain that's been, you know, upsetting her emotionally? And she wants, so I think it's going to be something like, and remember there is nudity in tarot decks traditionally, and it's just the way it is. There is nudity in tarot. So I think she wants, like, you know, when when you call somebody, you say, I need a reality check. I need a reality check because I'm in the process, or I'm experiencing something with other people, and, you know, is it me or is it them, or, you know, I need a reality check. So I think that's what this is going to be. Now we have 5 and 9 is 14. 14 and 20 would be 34. 34 minus 22 would be 12. So let's see if it's easy to find. I think the Hanged Man, rather, was Pinocchio in this deck. Oh, darn. Well, let me pause and find it so you don't have to go through all the cards. So if you notice, this Hanged Man is Pinocchio, right? Which, if you read the deck, you normally wouldn't associate the Hanged Man with Pinocchio. But in this case, you know, the association with Pinocchio is lies. He's getting caught in lies. This is the whale of Pinocchio's story, right? So it could be a problem, like a consequence that has been brought on because somebody lied. So could it be she got caught in a lie, or that she caught somebody in a lie and she's trying to process it and she needs a reality check? Or maybe she's coming to me because maybe it's in reference to a period of time when we lived together, or when we were, you know, actively friends and roommates. If I could give her a reality check on a memory, perhaps it could even be something like that. However, that would be a mistake because she probably remembers more than I do. That'll be very interesting. I will definitely, since you don't know who my friend is, I will definitely let you know if I was correct. I won't get into the details, but when I do finally hear from her, when we do speak to one another, I will share for sure the nature without getting into specifics. I would confirm whether or not I was on the right track. So I'd like to do readings in 3, so I'll do 2 more quick readings. I don't know, I thought maybe I just ask the universe what we're allowed to take a sneak peek at regarding the conclave and what is happening there. If within the allotted time, will there be a new pope? Will the smoke be white, or will the smoke be black? I don't know that the universe will let us know any more than that, or if the universe will even allow us to know that. But I know it's a series of days, and it's super secret squirrel handshake kind of stuff. I mean, they have armed guards all throughout the Vatican to make sure that the people voting have the absolute protection and privacy. And, you know, these are cardinals who have made a life of being in the church, and any repeating of anything that goes on there, any lapse of privacy, results in absolute excommunication, which is the biggest disgrace they could experience. So this is serious stuff, right? So I don't know how much the universe will allow me to see, and if the universe even cares, I don't know. But just asking, you know, what will be the nature of what we can expect as a result of the conclave. You know, I mean, will we see a new pope, or will we be delayed, you know, with that information? It almost looks ritualistic, doesn't it? Leaving an offering for a idol in a sculpture garden or something. 9 Pentacles. 8 Wands. Oh wow, look at that. So we have, I think, the Magritte, image similar to or reminiscent of a Magritte image where a woman is, I think, in a forest, and then the trees and the negative space plays tricks like a optical illusion. And then here we have it as an artist's palette. And the brushes are here. So that's a really cool 8 of Wands, how that's presented. So it's like they're painting their reality. They're literally creating. I mean, it's spiritual, and it's, they take it serious. Like this is almost like a representation of a deity, a gift for a deity. Now I'm reading the cards, right? More than I'm looking at like what the cards say. So right now I'm reading the cards. And then we have like the, cooperation of, I do see Wands as a collaborative suit. So cooperation of creating this image of a representative. I mean, I know he's in a urinal, so that's not very nice, but we could see it as somebody in a pulpit in the context of the question. Okay, I'm dealing, we're using the deck at hand here, so, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but we do have the pipe reference. We do have the Duchamp urinal. I think it was Duchamp with his bicycle and the urinal reference, and then he's blowing in the pipe. What is coming from his mouth? What is that? It's smoke. It's white smoke. Look at that. Wow. So I think this is a sign that there will be a pope. They will have chosen a pope at the end of this period of time, so that they don't have to go back and do it again. I think that's what it looks like, right? Like somebody's in the pulpit with white smoke. And I think white smoke is when they find, and we have more white chess pieces than dark. So if we're looking at in terms of smoke, wow, okay. Now let's take a look at the quint card. So we have 9 and 8, which is always risky because when you think you finally get an answer, right, with the 3 cards, and then you go and you pick a triumph card for it, and then it like shoots it all to hell. That happens sometimes, but you shouldn't be afraid to do it, because there's always a way that quint card will connect and connect these cards. But anyway, we have 9 and 8 is 17. So we have the star card, so it doesn't blow. I just have to be able to find the star card. And unfortunately, I got these cards kind of mixed up. There it is. It wasn't so far. So we do seem to have like a religious structure. So that could be considered like the Vatican, like some type of, religious structure there. And we have the pouring of white and black, which is interesting since it's white and black smoke. But we do have the rising eye. So it's ascending. And there's the star. So I'm going to take it that they will conclude with a pope. I hope I'm right, and I hope they don't have any trouble deciding on who they want to represent them moving forward. I hope it's as wise a choice as Pope Francis was. I mean, obviously, I am not Catholic, but let's face it, the Catholic faith is never going away, I don't think. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it will. But it's a permanent sort of thing. And, if you're going to have the papacy, then Pope Francis was a good man to have in that position. And maybe there will be someone who comes who will take that forward. Hopefully it won't be someone who takes it backward. He was a very popular pope. So let's ask the last question. What will the nature of the pope be, the new pope? What will the nature of the new pope be? Let me go off into my place. I'll be right back. Alrighty. I'll do one or two more shuffles. What will the nature, like what will be his messages, that kind of thing. 10 of Wands. Very busy card. Wow. And wow, we have Christ on the cross and everything. Wow, that's some serious symbolism there. Be intense, I suppose. And he'll be, I see batons and wands as social. So I think he'll have a high expectation for his followers. This showed up in a recent video reading I just did a few readings ago. And this is an extremely well shuffled deck. As you know, I riffle shuffle 11 times and I overhand shuffle 21, and then I do a few on the camera. So for this to pop up, it's unrelated to the last reading, but so we do have, like, I mentioned, like, stuff set in stone, right? So there are things that need to be followed that are set in stone in the context of this question. I'm reading it for this question. But there is, like, fresh and organic life that perhaps Francis breathed into the papacy. And maybe that is something that they're hoping to capture with the next pope. The Fool. And I mentioned that looks like, a portrait of Van Gogh when I mentioned in the one of the last videos that looks like Van Gogh, but he never painted anything like that. I meant to say that he never painted a painting like this, but this could be a reference to a self-portrait he did of himself because it looks enough like it. But I'm kind of thrown by the Fool because I get these two cards, but then this card kind of fools me. So I'm not really sure what the message is. Maybe if I get the Triumph card, the Quint card. So we have 10 and 9 is 19, the Sun with the Fool. Let me go look. Well, this is interesting. And I don't really know what I'm seeing here. But I am reminded that in my mind that this kind of looks like a swan with an egg, egg. And a swan, lays eggs, so there's that reference to, what came first, the chicken or the egg or whatever. But we have what kind of looks like a swan and then a egg yolk as part of its body. But then the feathers and the wings almost look like they're continued in the mountain. And then we have white smoke or drapery coming either from it down below or from the smoke, from the fire rising up. Again, white smoke. So I see two instances of white smoke. Now, I don't know if that's the extent of the information from the Sun card. It's just in case we missed the very subtle image of which card was it where there was white smoke? Oh, it was in another reading. It was in the other reading. So that this is like another one with white smoke. It's just very interesting. But it seems like it will be good. I mean, the Sun card is a good card to have. Now, I'm kind of curious and concerned about the Fool card. It could mean a few things. It can mean reckless behavior, reckless decision making. They take it very seriously. Maybe it's somebody that nobody saw coming. We do have Van Gogh. Nobody expected him to succeed. And of course, his paintings sell for among the highest paintings that are ever sold, But during the period of his life, I think he only sold one painting in the course of his lifetime. So it could be in that regard, not that he's a fool, but it could be a wild choice. It could be a choice that no one saw coming. But I think if this is the second reading with white smoke, then I think it will be a successful conclave. I hope they choose wisely for their people. It has nothing to do with me or mine, other than we need as much kindness and decency in the world as can be had. And I hope in the area of religious folks who happen to be Catholic, I hope it's something that is fostered through their new choice of Pope. And I think, once again, I got these cards upside down and backwards. Like, oh, maybe not. Okay, good. Well, this was a fun deck. I hope you enjoyed it. It's the Surrealist Tarot. I think I've already, identified it. And shame on me for not having opened it for like the past 3 or 4 years. It just sat. Oh, what a shame. Well, I'm so glad now that I'm being restricted, because it's giving me the opportunity to show you cards that I have otherwise put aside or just never got around to. And it's also good for me because I've been enjoying getting to know cards that I just kind of neglected. Things happen for a reason. I wouldn't want this to happen, what's happening now, to be the reason that I see tarot decks. But, I always try to find the good in every situation. If you're here with me for the past 21 minutes, then I would ask you to please give me a thumbs up and hit the like button and share me and all that, because I do need your support. Your support is necessary. I'd like to get to 4,000 subscribers. So if you could spread the word of me, share my videos, and definitely please subscribe and like if you haven't already. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, and please be brave.